Hello guys, welcome back to RMD Trucking, episode number 3. We started up our profile, we did our first job driving from Luxembourg to Strasbourg in France. At this moment in time there's not much we can do other than do some quick jobs. We have to reach level 3, wait on a second mail of the bank, and then we can figure out what we can do. We have some truck dealers discovered already. Volvo in Luxembourg, Scania in Strasbourg, and then we have gotten a mail from a MAN dealer in Dortmund that they have trucks available. So those 3 brands are discovered. Other than that, let's have a look. We have Frankfurt. Stuttgart here is also a dealer that needs to be discovered. We will see what is available. Although we do not have our own truck, I'm sort of going by the route that we have taken, and that's sort of how we're going to do it. So we're going to go to the job market and have a quick look what is available from Strasbourg. Carrefour in Strasbourg, that was the place that we finished. So we have the price down filter on, so that means that which will bring us the most money will be on top, and so on. So from the company that where we finished, which was Carrefour in Strasbourg, most money we can get is this trip to Frankfurt. From France to Germany with 22 tons of empty pallets, and they give us more or less upgraded truck, 510 horsepower Mercedes Actros. The new Actros, that is fine, we will just take that job for our second transport, more or less. Of course, yeah, we have to do this F4 thing again as usual. Something like that will do, I think. And now we can adjust the mirrors quickly. You always have to do that because this is not your own truck. Once you have your own truck, yeah, you only have to do that once, and then it should be solved. The small one on the right doesn't matter that much because we don't use that anyway. The big one on the right though, you sort of have to position that because we use that F2 mirror over there, and that is sort of a copy of the right mirror of the truck that you put it on. So if you don't change anything, you only see half a thing. What we already see is that this truck has a GPS in. Seems to be a decent screen, so we'll just use that one. We are sitting a bit too much to the left, I think. That will do fine. Let's see if we can discover something. What route does this thing take? We sort of go out of the city the other way that we came from. Other than that, it's all new roads that we're gonna discover. We could do a little detour to discover this thing here. Doesn't much difference if we go right here and left, or we just go straight ahead, and then that doesn't matter that much. And also here, yeah, we will sort of discover it once we arrive there, I'm assuming. We will see what situation is there in Frankfurt. Off we go. See what are we using. Not only do we try to discover new cities, but of course we also try to do as many roads as possible. To discover all these roads, because yeah, they're all grey when you come into this game, and as soon as you drove them at least once, they will turn yellow, and you get a bit of extra percentage. On the map discovery. Map discovery 100% thing. It's one of the Steam achievements which is linked to this game. There are a bunch of them, 60, 65 or so. And every time when a new DLC comes up or so, a few new will be arriving alongside that. A few new Steam achievements, that is. Gonna follow Mannheim area. On all these lane structures here, it's not always clear where you have to drive, so you can always keep an eye on where you're actually going. And you can just follow a few of these road signs as well. We're gonna go a bit over zigzag roading. Oh. For some reason my truck stopped. Bit of a national route we're gonna take instead of a highway this time, I think. It has 2 lanes on both sides, so. Although there are crosses over there, the AI can go through them. We with our truck, we cannot. If you drive in there, you actually crash. And you might have some damage on your truck. 80 kilometers an hour here, even on this road we can do, so that's all fine. Since this is a new profile, all the kind of stuff that you need to keep an eye on. A little bit keeping an eye on your money, especially in the beginning of the game. You can, of course, if you want less simulation, you can put the traffic offenses up and all that kind of stuff. It does seem that when you start this thing that you always get a sufficient enough power on your truck. That's not gonna be the case when you buy your first truck. You have to be a bit of a keeping an eye out on the transport itself, that you don't take too heavy stuff in the beginning when you have the low horsepower engines. It will work in most cases, but yeah, it can go very slow, especially when it goes uphill. If you're gonna take anything above 20 tons with a base 350 horsepower engine. But it's all doable, it just will go quite a bit slower. The border there earlier, and that also means that we are now no longer in France but in Germany, and we have some different speeds here. No longer 80 kilometers an hour, but maximum speed is 60 here. So I put the GPS on 64. That will do. You have a 4 kilometer allowance for as well for the cop cars as for speed cameras. Random event happening here. And it is exactly 4 kilometers that allowance, because if you on a road where you can do 60 and you do 65, the speed cameras will go up. And I think also the police cars. That's how you get a fine in this game, is yeah, if you have a police car nearby, it will put on its sirens, and that sort of gives you your fine, which you automatically pay through the route advisor thing there. Over here we do a little bit of detour to discover Mannheim, and also to discover whatever it is there in Mannheim. Question mark, that means it's either a truck dealer or a recruitment agency. But yeah, we're gonna have to discover them anyway. The truck dealer's not so important in such a way that once you have the 7 brands, you can always go to any of them through the menu, so that's not really necessary to discover those things. A recruitment agency, on the other hand, the more you will find, the more variety on drivers you will have, and also the more drivers you will have. These drivers, they come with a certain level. So yeah, the more of these recruitment agencies, because that's what this thing is, the more you discover, the more choice you will have. But you can look on the map through the menu as well for the dealers as for the recruitment agencies. You will see some question marks. In such a way, if you want to discover these things, you can always plan your route to the next city. At least go to a city where you have one of those question marks, so that you always discover something. That's the fastest way to find these things. There are a few cities here and there where there is no recruitment agency or truck dealer, so yeah, those are a bit pointless to go through in the beginning. But we have more than enough time normally in these jobs. It's Monday, 5 PM, and we have to deliver between 4:30 and 11:15 somewhere. Which means we have 6 hours and 16 minutes to go. And our ETA is an hour and a half drive, so yeah. More than enough time to deliver the thing. But unlike in the Volvo, that route advisor and the GPS in this Mercedes, they are sort of overlapping, so you can of course put down the GPS in the truck. You can put it off and then use the GPS on the route advisor. That is all possible. But in Scania, Volvo, also in this Mercedes, it's kind of okay. Screen is pretty clear. DAF and MAN, that's another story. Those screens or the GPS are yeah, not so big, let's put it that way. On the GPS you see like these green arrows, that means that you they sort of indicate that you need to change the lane. It can go pretty slowly up these turning points here, because yeah, I'm driving on a keyboard and I'm driving in full automatic, so the thing goes through the gears itself. We did have the shift up and shift down mapped, so if it's really not shifting like it should, or like you feel like it would be better to go a gear lower, you can always do that. Same story on the highway, Germany, Austria and so on. The maximum speed is 80 for trucks. But also there you have that 4 km tolerance if you want. So if you put the cruise control on 84, you're good to go. Of course you need to be sure that you have a truck with a retarder. That's why we put the GPS tolerance on 0. If it goes downhill, the retarder will kick in and you will go 84 constantly. If you allow a bigger tolerance, 5 km an hour or something, yeah, then it actually will roll down to 85 or so, and then the speed cameras will go up. And especially in the beginning, you're not getting that much money from these transports. What are we getting now? 3,000 something, I think, for this job. So you don't want to get fines for a couple of €100, because then you basically did a trip for nothing. But yeah, we had one little accident there. Other than that, you also need to pay attention to the cars on the highway, because they also sometimes do some really strange maneuvers. Especially on these exits, and so pay attention to what is also behind you, because yeah, that's of course how the whole thing is programmed. And very often you will see some police cars hanging about, especially at night. You don't always see what's going on. Just see some headlights coming your way from the other side, and you don't know who or what, and you're speeding at that moment. Especially at night, it's very often going to be a police car and you're going to get a fine. So it's not advisable. Frankfurt am Main discovered. This is already, let's say, new style Germany. Germany, UK, France in the north, and then Belgium, the Netherlands, and so there's like the base map. And yeah, meanwhile we are 6-7 years into this game. Was all getting a bit older, and so they decided to start updating the map a little bit. Not necessarily gonna mean like a bunch of new roads or something, but just, yeah, we have some hedges here in the middle of the road now. Before there was nothing there, or you just had some light posts or whatever. So they upgraded the map a bit, and they decided to start in Germany. And once they're done with Germany, I believe they're gonna go to the UK. Iveco dealer discovered on the right, and that dealer at the same time is also a repair shop. Not always the case. In some cities you have the truck dealers available, and at the same time a repair shop, but it can be a different part of the town as well. In this case it's both. As always, we sort of drive to that white thing here and then drive away from it and give ourselves a bit of an angle. We can of course drive in reverse and try to use the cameras, especially if you're driving with a wheel. Yeah, that is easier to do than with a keyboard. Not really It works. It works driving with these mirrors. You can sort of try to figure it out, but it works better with the lean out camera. Especially if you're new in the game, the lean out camera is the best way to learn the parking. And what you mainly have to pay attention to is the wheels of the trailer. If you can get those close to the line, then you're gonna be spot on eventually. There we go. And brake on. And we should be fine to go. Was this good enough? Probably not. I think we needed almost 400 kilometers to level up. Let's see, we need 121 kilometers. But we did have 25% extra, so it in the beginning of the game it's like 1 kilometer is 1 XP, but we already had 25% extra from that first skill points. So we probably have to do about 100 kilometers now to get 125 XP, and then we should be good for another level. So we will find a short job to go with it. Meanwhile, another email came in. Let's have a look on that. We are looking for skilled drivers with their own trucks for a large number of deliveries. We offer competitive rates up to 4,900 euros for a job. Please, if you have your own vehicle, inquire directly at our dock in Strasbourg. And it comes from the WGCC company in Strasbourg. So if you go to that company, you're going to get a little bit more money from transport than when you go to another company. There's always like one of these companies. Why it is in Strasbourg, it's not so clear to me, because we have our headquarters in Luxembourg. So that doesn't make really much sense here. If we buy our own truck, it's gonna drop it off in Luxembourg, and we have to go to Strasbourg every time to get some better jobs. Yeah. Meanwhile, you paid quite for the fuel. You get that little extra money that you get from driving from that company instead of from another company. You already have to pay on fuel just to get there. So doesn't make much sense. If you have your headquarters in Luxembourg, there are a couple of companies there. It should be one of those companies. Yeah, I think we need something 120 kilometers, something like that. So what we're gonna do this time is, can we select it on yeah, we can just leave it on the price, because in general it's pretty simple. The longer transports will be the shortest one. We were in Frankfurt, in Trado, I think we delivered. So we're gonna see on the last page, those are always the shortest trips. And if you can click on it, it will tell you how much it is. We'll do one of these Trados, but yeah, unfortunately both of them go back to Strasbourg, which is not that ideal, because that's more or less where we come from. Or we can go to Dortmund. Scania, we haven't driven Scania yet, I think. We'll take that job. 292 kilometers, mainly going to be highway, so that is not that far. We will take that job. To Transinet in Dortmund. I will quickly write that down as well, to sort of give me an idea where we will finish. And then that's sort of where we're going to start in the next episode as well. Of course, here we go again. We always have to do that in the beginning, since yeah, these are not our trucks. It's every time a different truck. Especially This will do. We did put ourselves a bit too high though. This will do. This time we don't have an upgraded vehicle, which means we don't have a GPS, so we're gonna have to use the navigator thing. And let's see what they gave us. You can look on the outside here. The Scania R series with 360 horsepower. It's a pretty basic engine. And what are we transporting? 11 tons of chemical sorbent. It's only 11 tons, so we should be fine. But nevertheless. This thing is 6-cylinder, which also means it's gonna be make a little bit more noise. While we're on the red light, let's have a quick look to see what's going on here. Not much by the looks of it. We could make a detour over Köln and Düsseldorf and so on, but yeah, we're just gonna leave that be. We are gonna go that way though, so that we can discover this question mark thing here, which will be a recruitment agency, because the other thing in Dortmund is a truck dealer from MAN, and that is the one where we got the mail from. So we already discovered that, although we did not drive in Dortmund yet. But that's all not that important in such a way that with the new update 1.35 you can buy the garages, even if you haven't been in cities, you can buy the garages sort of online, which makes it a bit more interesting location wise, so that you can always travel to the garage that you own. So you can buy garages wherever you want now with the new update once it comes into play. Yeah, right, man. Why not? That's what I mean. You have to pay attention to the traffic. Because he needed to give way to me normally, but he had no intention in doing that, so. Four hours and 40 minutes, and yeah, we have more than enough time. We have about 9 hours to get there, so that's not a problem. About 300 kilometers, and also fuel wise, as I said, with these quick jobs, don't have to worry about that too much. 740 liters we have in the tank, can do about 1500 kilometers, so yeah. You have to do a big detour if you want to run out of fuel on these quick jobs. I was thinking, why does my cruise control not work? But of course, yeah, this is a different job, this is a different truck. So it doesn't remember the cruise control settings from the first job that we did there. Sort of accident here again. Some roads over there. Although they are blocked, you can see they are sort of developed, so one point or another it might become available to drive over. You also have that, for instance, in Italy or so. Drive from Italy to Austria, you see some exits which are blocked. But that is, yeah, if they ever sort of bring the Balkan area, Slovenia, Croatia, former Yugoslavia, let's call it that way. If they ever bring that to the map, then those exits will open, obviously, so that you can go from Austria to Slovenia, or even from Italy, probably with some ferry connections to Croatia and so on. It's developed in such a way that eventually that will be in the game. Also in Italy we have different harbors on the east coast, so pretty easy to put a ferry connection there. We already have the harbors. You only need to put the ship there, more or less, and so that we can drive in there with our truck. That's sort of how these ferry things goes. You drive into a ship, and then you connect there. But we will come to all that in one of the next episodes or so. We're gonna have to do transport where we have to go on the train or on the or go by a ferry. Now we are mainly focusing on getting some money into the bank, leveling up, that kind of stuff. That's what you do as a new player. Not that we're a new player, but with a new profile, building up a career, that is how you do it, step by step. And of course, the more you level up, the more money you will get from these things. So your money is only gonna go up at a certain point. But in the beginning, it is sort of more or less a economical game as well. The business side of it. Get some money in the bank, and also yeah, what I'm also doing at the same time is always try to drive into different directions so that we explore some new roads. But also that over time, eventually you will have the whole map done. Although it can be a bit tricky to find those last few percentages. Because yeah, it's not only the roads, it's also the gas stations. the companies, the repair shops, the truck dealers. You actually have to drive onto that company premises. The recruitment agencies are probably the worst of all. In such a way, they are a yellow symbol on the map, so they are a bit confusing at times. And even if you zoom in, you can't really see it unless you're really close and zoom out on your route advisor. So once you have your own truck, it is also a good idea to go, especially if you're driving free roam from one company to another or so. Quickly take a pit stop, let's say, in the recruitment agency, so that you are sure that you have been there with your wheels on the ground. Let's put it that way, so that they turn into completely yellow, the whole ground, and not only just the recruitment agency. They should have picked another color than yellow. Really? Come into my lane to eventually take the exit anyway. AI. That's why they are there. To surprise you at times if you don't pay attention. Meanwhile, it's getting later. 9:25, so it's slightly getting dark here in Germany. The game itself sort of plays in, yeah, let's say somewhere in summertime. I believe the game is more or less based on a week in June somewhere. But it also at the same time sort of yeah, replicates real life. So we know that we are in summertime, but the more south you go, it will go darker sooner than, for instance, in Norway, where you will hardly ever have nighttime, because that's just how it is over there. In summertime you have almost 24 hours daylight there, so Dortmund straight ahead. Always can quickly click on F6 in case you sometimes it happens and you're just like you're driving and you don't even remember exactly where you're going. You can always check the plates. But yeah, that being said, although the exit said Dortmund here, we're gonna go straight ahead and take the next exit. That's not always possible, but in most of these cities you usually have 2 exits for the city. So you have like two ways of getting into the city. And of course, normally we wouldn't taken that first exit there. But we adjusted the route to discover that question mark there. And we don't need to discover the truck dealer because yeah, we already had that one from the beginning of the game. Since we picked the MAN as our preferred truck, did we get the mail? First mail that we got was from an MAN dealer. And by getting that mail you also sort of unlock the dealer on the map. And seeing our headquarters was in Luxembourg, it still is for that matter, Dortmund was the closest the nearest by MAN dealer, let's call it that. There's also an MAN dealer in Calais, but that's a bit further away, although I don't think it will be that much difference then. There we have the police car. He's just gonna drive behind us again to bother us a little bit. So we need to keep an eye on the speed. I'm just gonna put the cruise control on 54 kilometers an hour. Because that is sort of 50 kilometers an hour is the most of these cities is the speed limit. But again, we have that 4 kilometer tolerance that you can always use. So if you put the thing on 54, good to go. Especially with police cars behind you, it is advisable to keep on the speed. Here we go. Recruitment agency on the left. Discovered. Do a little detour and drive by the MAN dealer. Although we have discovered it, then at least, yep, we properly discovered it. Dortmund is one of those cities where they have split up the repair shop and the truck dealer. As you can see, on the left it's just a repair shop, and the MAN dealer is on the other side of the road there. But even though we are driving with a quick job and it's not our own truck, and that's sort of how you have to discover these things. We just do a little bit of a detour here and there. Of course, it is nighttime now. You will not be able to visit things. You drive into that symbol, it will tell you that it's closed. Monday to Saturday, it's open from 8 AM till 6 PM. But it doesn't matter that much. Maneuvering a little bit because I don't think we would have made it otherwise. Because yeah, you can also get damage by hitting your own trailer with your own truck if you do a bit of a too big angle. But even with all our detouring, not that much of a time. We have like, it's 22:43 at the moment, and we have till 4 AM in the morning to deliver this thing. So you can in theory discover all these companies here by driving to them. Again, we are looking at the rear wheels of our trailer to sort of guide our whole combination into these white triangle thing. But it's good. Doesn't matter that much, like now here we have our truck a little bit sideways. It's not lined out, but the trailer is fine. So as long as it's green, you can drop the trailer and you can, if you have your own truck, you can just drive out afterwards. That should be enough XP to put us into a new level, which also means we have a new skill point. Let's have a look what's going on. We're looking for experience bonus. We have 25% because we put a point on a long distance. So we're gonna look for the next big update that we can get. Over here it's 18% experience bonus, 22, and over here it's 20. So we're gonna go for fragile this time. Next time for just in time, and then we do just in time again because level 2 of the just in time gives you a 30% experience bonus. But for now we will just go for this thing here and apply it. Seeing we have leveled up again, we have some new upgrades available for the MAN. That basically means the co-driver's license plate that you can put behind your window. And we have another mail. Let's have a look. The special transports mail this time. That is one of the DLCs that we have, and it sort of gives you all the destinations, or all the starting points, I must say, where you can pick up these special transports. We might do that in one of the next videos because they give some pretty good money, and if we do it with a quick job, they gave us a truck, so we will have more than enough truck. Now yeah, that is a bit of a special tour thing. We will have transport guide vehicles behind and in front of us, and we just have to follow them with really heavy cargoes, 40, 60, 70 tons even. That is the special transport. So yeah, if you're not immediately familiar with the driving and everything, it's not advisable to do those from the beginning because yeah, they're a bit tricky. Also with update 1.35, they are going to add 7 new locations for these special transports, I believe. And that's sort of, yeah, wraps it up for episode number 3. We found our way into Germany this time, discovered Frankfurt, Mannheim, and also Dortmund. And we are halfway level 2, so the next transport, if we don't pick it too short one, we should be able to level up to level 3. That will give us a normal circumstances. That's how it usually went, so we will see how if it's still the case now. It's been a while since I started my my other profile, so we will still see if it's still the same. we should be able to get a second mail from the bank with the upgrade to 500,000 credit, and then we can go to the bank and actually get a loan for 400,000 or something, get ourselves a truck, and go from there. But that will be for whenever I have time to record another RMD trucking. I will see you guys then, and bye for now.